All right, let's jump right in. Every single business, I mean from the tiny corner store to a massive global company, is playing on what you could call an invisible playing field. It's the space that's shaped by these powerful, unseen forces, and they're the ones that write the rules of the game. Honestly, understanding them can be the difference between making it big or completely flaming out. So think about this for a second. What on earth connects something as fleeting as a fashion trend with the big, serious new government law? I mean, they seem like they're from different planets, right? But for a business, they are connected in a way that's absolutely crucial. And there's your answer. They're both these powerful, invisible forces that can literally make or break a business. Just imagine, one day your product is flying off the shelves. The next, whoops, a new regulation just dropped and it completely changes how you can even sell your product. That's the invisible playing field in action. To really get our heads around this, let's use an analogy. Picture a business as a ship out on a huge open ocean. Now, you'd think its success is all about how well built the ship is or how skilled the crew is, right? But really, it all comes down to its ability to navigate the unseen currents, the changing tides, and the sudden storms. Those are the forces of our invisible playing field.
This is where it starts to click. We can kind of split these invisible forces into two big buckets. On one side of the coin, you've got the forces of people. This is the socio-cultural stuff, the world of your customers, what they believe, what they value, how they live their lives. And on the other side, you have the forces of power. That's the politico-legal world, the rules, the authority, the laws and policies that set the boundaries for everybody.
So let's tackle the people side first. We're talking about the social and cultural vibe of a society. It's all about how the values, the beliefs, and the lifestyles of a population can create these massive new opportunities or some pretty serious threats for any business out there.
Now, the official term for this is the socio-cultural environment. Think of it as the collective personality of a society. It's this whole mix of customs and values that shapes how people act. And for a business, this isn't just some background noise, it's literally the water you're swimming in. If you ignore it, you're gonna sink. Period.
So what kind of stuff are we talking about here? Well, it's everything from public attitudes, like, say, a growing concern for the environment, to deeper things like religion, education levels, and the communities people belong to. Every single one of these shapes what people buy, and maybe more importantly, why they buy it. And check this out. A perfect example of that in the real world. Just a simple shift in public attitude, with more people wanting a low-sugar diet, creates an entire new market for sugar-free products. At the same time, it puts the squeeze on all the traditional sugary stuff. That's the people force, right there, creating a market out of thin air.
And here's the thing. These preferences are always changing. They're never just locked in place. Take the television. A few decades back, it was this huge luxury item. Now, it's basically a standard piece of furniture in most homes. That one little shift in what we all think of as normal built a gigantic mass market, and the companies that saw it coming made a fortune.
Okay, so we've talked about people. Now let's flip that coin over and look at the other big force, power. This is the whole politico-legal environment. This one is less about what people want to do and a whole lot more about what they have to do. These are the formal rules of the game, set by governments and the legal system. This political legal world is a huge deal. It covers everything from how stable the government is to the tiniest little regulations. A stable government that's pro-business, that can be a goldmine of opportunity. But then, bam, an unexpected new law or some political chaos can stop a company cold right in its tracks. Take something like the Consumer Protection Act. This is not just some boring document sitting on a shelf. No way. It's a set of hard and fast rules for every single business. All of a sudden, you have to guarantee product safety. You must be transparent about your pricing. You have to give people choices. This is power reaching in and completely reshaping the entire marketplace. And just like people's tastes, these laws are not set in stone either. They're always evolving. Just look at how India's rules for dealing with failing businesses have totally transformed over the decades. We went from the old SICA Act in '85 to the modern bankruptcy code in 2016. The big takeaway here? You can't just play by today's rules. You have to be thinking about what the rules are going to be tomorrow.
So here's where it gets really interesting. These two worlds, people and power, they are in a constant state of flux. They're always moving. These aren't just history lessons from a textbook. They are living, breathing systems that are reshaping the business world right now, especially in a fast-moving economy like India's. Check out this huge shift on the people side. Roughly a third of India's entire population now lives in urban areas. Now, that's not just a statistic on a chart. That's a full-blown market revolution. It's driving massive demand for everything from modern apartments and infrastructure to digital services and e-commerce. Meanwhile, over on the power side, you can see just how fast and final a change can be. Look at this number, 12. The Indian government basically snapped its fingers and consolidated 27 public sector banks all the way down to just 12. A single policy move aimed at making things more efficient that completely rewired the entire financial sector. And this stuff isn't happening by accident. It's all part of a deliberate plan. You see these big government initiatives like Make in India or Smart Cities, and you realize these are crystal clear examples of power at work, actively trying to steer the economy in a very specific direction.
But the real insight, the thing you absolutely have to understand, is how people in power are connected. They don't exist in their own little bubbles. Nope. They are locked in this constant dance, this feedback loop that just fuels more and more change.
So how does people push power around? Well, it often starts with the change in what society cares about. Suddenly, enough people get worried about an issue, let's say pollution. That social pressure builds, and it forces politicians to act. So a people force, caring about the environment, leads directly to a power force, brand new, tough environmental laws. And that influence flows right back the other way. A government policy, which is pure power, like allowing 100% foreign direct investment in retail. That one move threw the doors wide open for global e-commerce giants. And what happened? It completely changed the shopping habits of millions of Indian consumers. A massive shift in the people environment, all sparked by one policy decision.
So what's the bottom line here? It's pretty simple. The business environment is never standing still. It is always evolving. So for any company that wants to survive, let alone thrive, keeping an eye on all this stuff isn't just a nice to have. It's absolutely mission critical. You have to watch the people, and you have to watch the power.
And all this leaves us with one big question to chew on. We know for a fact that society and politics are going to keep changing, probably even faster than we've seen before. So the real question is, which businesses are going to be the ships that are smart enough to read the currents, adjust their sails, and navigate these changes successfully? And which ones are going to get left behind, totally wrecked by the very forces they didn't even bother to see?